It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, here we are. Another Sunday evening. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. And I hope you had yourself a good weekend. It was a Halloween weekend. A lot of people said, have a good holiday. I'm like, I don't really consider Halloween a holiday. I don't know why. It's just a little goofy. And, you know, I guess if you have kids, that's like the big thing. You know, I live vicariously through my children on Halloween when they put on their costume. I'm like, yeah, everything's just a problem. It was adorable. You know, you see the kids with their parents and they're out, and that's kind of nice. I was in New York this past week, and being there for Halloween was kind of cool. I was out on Long Island, so it was the suburbs. So that was kind of nice because I did get to see a lot of suburban families in nice neighborhoods taking their kids around. But I did have to go into the city a couple of times, and the flooding, that was a big thing. That was happening right when I got there. Nothing better than coming into LaGuardia, looking out the window at the big city, and it's like you're flying into Gotham. It's gray and rainy and wet and windy, and it just seems like that's every single time I come into New York. No sunny day, no nice weather. I got my coat on, and it's just miserable. And then, you know, you find out what's happening down there on the streets below, and it's business as usual. Flooding. There was, I don't even know what it was. I don't think it was a nor'easter. It certainly wasn't a hurricane. And, you know, when those things are approaching New York for a week before, you'll hear the weather guy talking about, prepare, get out there and buy your bottled water and bread and eggs and, you know, that hacky bit. But nothing this time. No one really talked about this like it was a storm that was going to cause any problems until the last minute. And I think it caught a lot of people with their pants down. And it was a mess. I mean, a disastrous mess. The subways flooded. The streets were flooded. I guess a couple of people died. One guy died in Crown Heights. He drowned inside his flooded basement trying to get his dog, you know. A noble effort. But you got those basement apartments in New York City. They're going to flood. You know, you might want to take some early precautions. And I don't think they flood immediately. I never get that with people where something doesn't happen immediately, but they just kind of sit there and wait for it to get really, really bad. But I don't know the circumstances. Just a terrible story there. And like I said, business as usual. This has been New York for so long. The infrastructure is a disaster. And no one can really do anything about it. I think it's even beyond the help of, you know, for lack of a better term, the leadership. Right. You know, your governors and mayors and senators and Congress people. I think it's beyond that. Any other system in a city that is over 100, some of it way over 100 years old, should just be in a museum. And this is part of the New York City infrastructure. Sewers that are well over 100 years old. And, they're kind of crumbling, coming apart at the seams. And they have been for a while. And this isn't new. We've seen these stories happen for many years. The roads that are going to be flooded. And, on the east side, the FDR Drive, good luck. I was taking an Uber and was supposed to go up the FDR, and it's just like, very flooded, my friend. Like, yeah, you know what you're doing. What am I? What am I, your GPS? Your Waze? Your Google Map? Figure it out. I love when they ask me. I know my way around, but you're the guy. That's part of your job. Drive me where I want to get without driving us into a lake or taking, an inordinate amount of time. But, it was all flooded. The same street, so it's not like it's surprise mayor, surprise governor, surprise congressman or senator. It's the same places in the same city. And they talk about how it's got to be taken care of. We need this and that. Well, it does not get taken care of. And, the Democrats have been in charge of New York City for at least 11 years. Bloomberg was, independent. But, the Democrats have been in charge. And we just see this happening again and again and again. Nothing gets fixed. And then you have, the savior of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, talking about $700 million for free buses. That deserves like a smack in the head. I'm gonna make buses fast and free. It'll be $700 million, but I'm gonna tax the ow. Get your head on straight. What are you talking about? Did you see the flooding in the city? Yeah, but free buses. We need infrastructure. That's how cities work. Crap goes in, you got to get the crap out. That's how it works. And when it rains, you got to figure out where to put the water. And the same with the snow. And the electricity has to get from the power plant to the people. And it's a whole thing of just making stuff work. And if anyone is under the delusion that it's working, you got some serious issues. You don't want to see the truth. You're lying about it. So for your, pretty much mayor, he's pretty much your mayor now, Zohran Mamdani, coming up with a $700 million proposal to make buses free before a penny of that goes to infrastructure? What? $700 million given to the right leadership to pay the right people, not lining pockets, not favors and cronyism, but a real construction firm, people that know what they're doing about infrastructure, and you pay them to fix things. Doesn't that sound like the way a city should run? Doesn't that absolutely sound like something a leader, a mayor or governor or someone would talk about? Not free buses while the buses were floating in the roadway. Oh, the bus couldn't get through because, all of Queens is underwater. But that bus is going to be free. Why don't you fix the fact that the roads flood when it rains? They just cannot prioritize because that's not sexy. That doesn't appeal to the constituent mindset. The people running for office, if they go say, well, we're gonna make sure that the flood water from the rain actually drains as the rain's coming down. And people go, what's in it for me? Well, not a flooded basement, not roads that you cannot drive through or over because it's flooded. And they go, yeah, I don't know. I could make a left there and I could avoid that whole area and then I'll do this. What about free buses for me? So, the politicians, of course, are to blame, but the people are also to blame. They're voting in these people that just cannot see the real problems. And, that's most politicians, but you have an extremist in there. Zohran Mamdani. Free buses while the entire city's infrastructure is, they wore top hats. When they were putting in that sewer system, they had big top hats. It wasn't ironic. It wasn't some hipsters over in Brooklyn wearing a top hat and a monocle and a steampunk watch. These were people, they wore that because that was the fashion of the day. They wore cloaks, for God's sake. And that's when the infrastructure was being built. Now, over 100 years later, it's falling apart and free buses. You dummies. I hate to keep calling New Yorkers dummies. They are my audience here. But I think we know. The people listening to this very program and others on this very station, I think they understand. They're not the dummies. They see the dummies every day. And they go, look, a dummy. So I think you can identify the people that are voting in these idiots. But, that should be disqualifying right there. That should disqualify Zohran Mamdani. He comes out. You see New York flooding every single time they get a significant rain. And you're still talking about $700 million for free buses. That should be, yo, I'm so sorry, you're disqualified. But I'm in the, yes, great effort, but you tripped up with the $700 million free buses. We'll see you next time, Zohran. But, the people, that seems to be what they want. I don't know. I've read some stuff that Cuomo might be catching up in the polls. But again, I'm a little jaded on polling after the past few decades, actually. They don't seem to know what the hell they're talking about. So, all right, just up and running. We are just beginning the program. And I see the phone's already lit. I didn't even have to say 800-848-9222. We'll get to your calls, and oh, my God, plenty more shenanigans coming up on the Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show continues. And, let's talk to Lamar there in New York City. What's up, Lamar?
Good evening, sir. We were compelled to call you this evening because we're downtown in New York City. And when we heard you on the radio, my little crew here, we out in the field, told me we got to call this man because what you said, sir, has biblical justification. The one true source book of all wisdom and knowledge actually tells us that there are certain groups we should refrain from helping. First on that list is the ungrateful, the stiff-necked, the rebellious. There are demographics in this country who don't know, and it's about time somebody told them that this country doesn't owe them anything.
Wow.
We got veterans lying in hospitals all over this country, at VA centers with no arms and no legs, who have lost their vision, their sight, who have never been given the entitlements that these ungrateful bastards have been given on a silver platter. And God bless you for telling them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lamar. Wow. Fire and brimstone. He sort of sounded like a cross between Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali, right? Didn't he? Boy, that wakes up with some energy, doesn't he? Matt, Bronx, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you? As you know, before I get to my main comment, Definitely want to pitch the Culture Critique by Dr. Kevin McDonald. If you want to know about all the left-wing ideologies.
Known. Matt.
Matt. But, definitely read the book. But with regard to SNAP CBT, I want you to know that according to the USDA website,
right,
that's U.S. Department of Agriculture,
sure,
55% of households that receive SNAP actually work.
Yeah, to some extent.
The ones that, I should correct that. 55% of households with children that receive SNAP are working adults, and another 28% overall are working adults overall without children.
Yeah.
I just want to make clear that SNAP is comparatively to government spending. The social safety net is relatively small. Most of the welfare spending in this country is not social; it's corporate. When you look at defense contractors, Raytheon, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, McDonnell Douglas, you name it, LG 3 Harris, all these other defense contractors that are literally siphoning off hundreds of billions of dollars of American taxpayer money.
I get what you're saying, Matt, but let me get in here for a second. I understand what you're saying. Like, there are bigger fish to fry as far as money goes, but let's say you are wealthy parents, right, and you have a kid, and you could give the kid whatever he wants, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to you. You're going to end up with a pretty crappy, spoiled kid. It's not so much the money that's going out. It's the people that you're creating, the entitlement, the expectation that these people have that they will be supported. It makes for a really bad type of people that carry that attitude and being spoiled into the community. While it doesn't maybe not monetarily cost a lot, it costs our society a lot in the people that it cultivates.
Yes, and I would agree with that. And so far as that, basically when Lyndon Baines Johnson created the Great Society programs back in the 1960s, he didn't do it out of the kindness of his heart.
Right.
He created these programs in order to get dependent the American black constituents in the urban centers.
Right.
And it's grown exponentially since then. It's not just blacks in the urban centers anymore. We have a huge white underclass in this country that is totally dependent on Medicaid, food stamps, you name it.
And the illegals and even legal immigrants that are coming into this country that cannot support themselves. And this is a great opportunity for Democrats mostly to come out and say, we will care for you. And it gets them to vote. They started out back in the 60s with the black communities, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough people, so they had to start ushering in other people. And, the impoverished white people, putting them on welfare. They want dependents. They want people that need the government as a mommy and daddy. Matt, thanks, man. Always appreciate the phone call. But, it's as I was saying, we really need to look at it, though, and get people off of this welfare system. Because, like I said, it just creates a bad type of people. And I don't mean that in any racist way, sexist way. I'm not getting down on people that are impoverished and in need. It just isn't a good model to help people out. It makes them dependent, and it gives them this entitlement that they feel they are owed. And regardless of how much or how little it actually costs the government, it's not the type of people you want around. I mean, we see what happens in a lot of these communities that are predominantly occupied by by welfare recipients. Let's be honest. The places aren't nicely kept up. There's a lot of illegal activity going on, and it's just not a place a lot of people want to live. And I think not having a purpose in life, a job, not feeling any self-respect. You don't respect yourself. You're not respecting anyone or anything else. So if you're just handed money every month and no one cares what you do with it, and you're just, you've grown used to that, you're the spoiled child, I don't want to live near that. And they're not going to contribute a lot to the society. So again, it doesn't have much to do with the money itself. It's it's more the character of the people that are on generational welfare. So I think this is, like I said, a great opportunity to look around, see who really needs it. Let's wring out that sponge and see who really, really needs these benefits. And absolutely make sure they get the benefits that they need. But if you can work, and you talk about the illegals, and we're throwing them out of the country, and these are the same people that would pick our oranges and our cabbage and clean our hotel rooms. We always hear, the left, for the most part, they say a lot of that, not thinking it sounds horrifically racist. But, those are jobs. Oh, well, people won't do those jobs. Americans don't do that. How about you want to eat? How about you want to feed your kids and clothe them and send them to school? Then you better do those jobs. And if you don't like it, that should be some motivation to get yourself a better job. How about that? But for some reason, when you give them just enough money to get by, they don't want to do anything. They're not going to work. This is working out well for me. So, like I said, the character of the people that are on welfare is more important than the money itself. Yeah, it's not technically speaking, but, we'll talk more about it and your calls next.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is indeed the Anthony Cumia Show. Let's go right back to the phones with Kevin in Long Beach, New York, that is. How you doing, Kev?
Hey, Ant. Now I'll give you my version. That LeVar's version was a little different. I don't think he's including the past 4 years of Biden.
Yeah.
But I was homeless for 5 years, okay? I had a catastrophic amputation, ran through all my savings, and when I came out, I had nowhere to land, so they stuck me in social services and in the shelters, okay?
Right.
All predominantly black. I was in Roosevelt, Uniondale, Hempstead, only white guy, okay? 67 years old with an amputated foot. Not a good place to be. Oof. But here's what I learned about the SNAP system and the EBT thing. It's $295 a head. Every kid's the same, $295. That's why they have 4 or 5 kids.
Right.
But what they do is they go to the bodegas in Freeport and they sell the cards.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
don't use it for food. They sell the cards at 30, 40 cents on the dollar so they can get the hair extensions and the fingernails and the eyelashes and the iPhones and everything else.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
And I was looked at as an idiot because I got $100 because I was 67 and had no kids. And I'd go to the dollar store, and I'd take the bus and I'd make it last.
Right.
And I'd get laughed at. They would goof on me and make fun of me.
See, Kevin, you're an example of a person that absolutely should get these benefits. I mean, I'm not saying everyone on it is on the take or isn't worthy of receiving the taxpayers' money, but you seem like a guy that really needed the help, and we really have to look into that and start getting people out actually working.
Exactly. But I paid into it for years, you know. And
Yeah,
I don't use it as an excuse. While I was in the shelters, I was volunteering at the churches and the pantries. You know,
Yeah.
It took me 5 years, and I saved money. I got a little job, and I finally got out, and I got my place in Long Beach. I got my, and I retired because I had to, because I couldn't work without a foot. And when you see what the excesses are and how the money is spent, that's what you find frustrating, you know. And that thing about the military and all of that, at least we're getting something out of it. You get jets and rockets and armors. You know, it's just, please, these people contribute nothing. Just take, don't give. You know, and it's sad, but that's the way it is.
That's very good. You pulled yourself up by your bootstrap and got on your foot, on your own foot, and
you took my line. I was just I was watching one of your old radio shows on YouTube today, and they were talking about the Halloween when you lived in the Jewish neighborhood.
Oh yeah, they would drive.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin.
Hilarious.
I appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you, man.
Okay, but
we gotta hit the continue button on the phone screening system, or I can't. There we go. Yeah. Halloween out on Long Island. I'm not one of these hand out candies and be like, oh, look how cute, a little Superman or this. So yeah, I'd put a bowl out there, and I wouldn't even put a sign that said just take one. I just assumed. But this was Roslyn, Long Island, a pretty well-to-do neighborhood. And people would drive their kids to the good neighborhoods so that they would get better candy, full-size Snickers bars and whatnot. And my Ring camera caught so many people just grabbing fistfuls of candy, putting them in their bag, jumping in a car like it was a bank robbery. So, even if you live in a nice neighborhood, Halloween, not really safe. Not really safe. But, Kevin, that was a great example of somebody that really needs the program and should be on it. And then look what he said. He did give back. He volunteered. He did what he could. He might not have been able to work enough or at a job to support himself at the time, but he made sure what he could do, he volunteered that work. And in time, he got himself back on his foot and got a house, and he's retired. That's how it's supposed to work. You are not supposed to be on these programs for generation after generation. And when you say things like this, you're looked at as this heartless person. You just want children to starve. Oh, God, how many times have you heard that one over the course of the past few weeks since the government shutdown? Trump wants children to starve to death. Really? Does he? Because truth be told, and like Kevin was saying, there are plenty of private charitable organizations that do a hell of a lot more and a hell of a better job feeding and clothing people than the government could ever do. Any town will have some type of church organization or something set up where food and clothing, especially for children, is readily available. I've often talked about how it is a miracle. The United States of America, it is a miracle to have as many people as we have in this country, and no one starves to death. People just don't starve to death for lack of food. There are some insane people that, they'll chain their kid to a radiator or stop eating. But no one, because there is a lack of food, starves to death in a country of hundreds of millions of people. And that is an amazing feat. And it's not because the government is giving out EBT cards. It's because we have an amazing, very empathetic nation of people that are willing to volunteer and contribute and help each other on that local level. And, when you look around the world at some of these countries, even supposed first world Western countries, there are people starving to death. I'm not saying we don't have a problem in this country with hunger and with nutrition, but, there's no vulture circling a starving child's body out in a field somewhere because there's a lack of food and resources for people to get food to their kids. So that's really where the effort should come from. And if somebody needs government assistance, it really should be somebody that obviously cannot do for themselves. And I don't have an issue with that. Of course not. You'd have to be a real hard person to have an issue with people that really need something. So let us talk to Oh, here's Shane from Vermont. Shane, you've been on Snap your entire life. How old a gentleman are you?
I'm 30 years old. I'm about to be, and
we better hear some horrid physical affliction.
Well, I'm not going to go into the details. I actually didn't say that I was on Snap, but I said that there's people in my family that are close ones that have been on it, and it's a lot of people that stopped trying very early on in their life, and then they have kids that they get paid several $100s after each additional kid. So you have the 5 different kids with 4 different fathers, like what my mother did, and she was set. She was getting like well over $800 to $1,800 a month for a long time.
Wow.
Living in a house that the state was actually paying the subsidy to her father.
Oof. That sounds like what Mamdani wants to do in New York. But
yeah.
Wow. So is there any element of shame in your family with these people that are doing this, or do they almost have this weird sense of that they're proud that they figured out a way to buck the system like that?
Well, as far as why they did it, I still ask myself that question today. I don't talk to those people anymore, but as far as the guy who talked about selling stuff and that, you kind of glossed over that. I want to reiterate that that's something that people are doing rampant. It's something that I've never personally engaged in, but of course I've heard about it, and
right.
it's bad. You buy a lot of meat, you freeze it, you sell it like that guy said, 30 cents on the dollar, and there's no incentive for the organizations to actually clamp down on that fraud. That's the big problem.
Yeah, I think if we actually, as a country, locally, federally, looked into the waste. Doge was supposed to do this, but I think it's just so rampant, and it's got its tentacles into everything that we've just reached a point where it is impossible to go through every program and every system and find the amazing amount of corruption, crime, and waste going on.
Well, the nonprofits and the agencies are engaged in predatory receiving of these benefits from the federal government anyway, because they don't do anything to address concerns that citizens have in project housing, safety concerns.
Right.
Yeah, I'm calling you from Project Housing, and we can't keep a property manager right now. Jeez. We've had like 4 in the last 2 years.
What do you do for a living? I'm curious. You sound quite articulate for someone living in project housing.
Well, it's not something I really want to get into. I wish I could have gone into higher education, but it just wasn't really in the cards.
Should have gotten into radio.
Social stuff. Well, Anthony, maybe I will. Maybe I will start a show.
There you go. All right, Shane. Thank you, my friend. I don't know. I don't know what that story's all about. I'm sure something's going on over there. He just didn't sound like a guy who was in project housing. He just kind of, and having a big family with a lot of them or a few of them on programs, SNAP programs like that. And the corruption, and it just seems the second a politician really wants to look into it, they jump on him. The Democrats and liberals will jump on any politician that wants to look into the corruption going on in these SNAP programs. Yeah, they're selling the credit cards. They're selling the products that they're buying. They sell the card to a bodega. They could get money. Then they could buy whatever they want, cigarettes, things they couldn't buy with the SNAP cards. So this is happening. And the second someone says something about it, there's a lot of corruption. We got to look into this. Oh, starving children. You just want the kids to starve. And, it goes on and on and on, and nothing is remedied during any conversation. And these politicians, my God, people like Schumer, that Chuck Schumer, he can't get out in front of the camera anymore and try to pass off this government shutdown on anyone. Everyone knows that the Democrats own this shutdown. It's a simple case of sign the bill to reopen the government with only reopening the government on the bill. And then you look at the Democrats, they want all kinds of things added to the bill, and the Republicans say, no, it's not happening. And then they try to say that because of that, it's Trump's shutdown. He owns it. And they're like, oh, they got the White House, the Senate, and Congress. So you need 60 votes. It just doesn't, mathematically, it doesn't work out. And they know this. They know we need a few Democrats to come over to pass anything. So just because you have the House and the Senate and the White House doesn't mean anything. But that's another way they lie to the American people and try to convince them that it's Trump's shutdown. And then you got a guy like that, like Chuck Schumer, running your city or your state. He's the go-to guy that goes to D.C. to represent you. And he's a liar. He's just a liar. And, keeping people dependent on things. And when you want to actually try to solve a problem, like corruption in the welfare system, they'll turn around and say you're a terrible person for wanting to starve the kids. Oh, my God. And you guys got an election coming up. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Now, we'll get into this, obviously, in a lot more detail coming up on the show. But this is a pretty important election for New York City. And, we got Mamdani, we got Cuomo, and we got Curtis. And people are fuming at Curtis right now. They are so pissed at Curtis Lewa, especially since now these new polls are showing that Cuomo is kind of inching up a little closer to Mamdani. And if it ends up being close, like Mamdani wins by a couple of percentage points, Curtis is going to have to get out of town. There's going to be more than the mob looking for Curtis if that happens. But again, I don't particularly blame Curtis. I don't think it's the Republicans' candidate. He won the Republican nomination, and I don't think it's his responsibility to have to hand that over to Andrew Cuomo in order to keep a worse Democrat out of office. It's nice, and people are saying, well, if Curtis really wanted to help New Yorkers, he would do this. That's one way to look at it. The other way is, here's my platform. And it does include really helping people and cleaning up crime and building infrastructure. Whether anyone can do that or not is a we'll see kind of a prospect. But, you want somebody that's going to do that, then vote for him. Why the hell should he have to drop out to save the Democrats? You guys got yourself in this position all by yourself. You guys nominated Zohran Mamdani as your Democrat candidate for mayor of New York City. And then you got Cuomo. He has to run as an independent because he, screwed the pooch when he was up in Albany. And now Curtis is supposed to be the guy that saves everyone by dropping out. And I know, there's plenty of people at the radio station up there. Sid, I love Sid Rosenberg, Sid and Friends in the Morning. Even John Katz, the boss up there. I know they really want Curtis to drop out. And, it's asking a lot. I think it's asking a lot of Curtis to drop out. And I know he doesn't have a chance. I know damn well Curtis Lewa does not have a chance in hell of winning. But there's a little more going on here than that. And I think at some point, New York has to go, oh, my God, did we screw up? This is terrible. It's the only way you're going to get another Giuliani in there. Dinkins. Remember Dinkins? Wasn't that a treat? In order to get another Giuliani, you need to go through a Dinkins and have things get so incredibly bad that, you got to look around and go, we need to fix this. Oh, but it's a Democrat city. Yeah, even they're going nuts. Even they're out of their minds with how bad things went under Mamdani. So you get Andrew Cuomo in there. He might fix a few things. He'll do this. It'll be liberal, Democrat liberal projects. The money to illegals will go back. The hotels again. All that nonsense. And then what? The Democrats go, it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. And then they just vote another Democrat in. It has to get really, really bad. And I think Mamdani's just the guy to pull that off. All right, back in a couple of minutes with more of the Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And we appreciate you tuning in. I guess we can go to Hollywood. A little bit of Hollywood. Because, oof. I despise Hollywood. The only thing I want to see from Hollywood these days, Sydney Sweeney. That's about it. A good picture of Sydney Sweeney, like Vanity Fair took one of her the other day, red carpet thing. And she was wearing a very, very, what would you call it? Hot. A hot dress. It was, it didn't cover up much. It was very nice. She's a pretty gal. Am I going out on a limb saying that Sydney Sweeney is a pretty gal? Yeah. Other than that, I am done. I am done with Hollywood. And as I was saying earlier, and in many other shows, they feel like they're compelled to tell everybody how they should live their lives. And it's just it's infuriating. And it's showing because people really don't see them as celebrities anymore. They see them as annoying people who have no idea what it's like to live a real life, and they can't keep their mouths shut because they're all narcissists. They're all attention whores, I think you call them. So Mark Ruffalo, he is one of the he's at the forefront of the liberal Hollywood D-bag. And anything this guy says is looked at like the blithering idiot that he is said it. So Mark Ruffalo, he's talking about how the evil conservatives, they're the ones preying on the decency of the left. Oh, yeah. He actually said this. Let's listen to Mark Ruffalo, Hollywood actor. Hello?
The way that prisons are set up in our society, I would argue that they do not work. They do not make us safer. The instinct is to just take that person, the source of that harm, the source of that issue, and then just throw them away. Put them in a cage and throw away the key.
Oh, no,
that doesn't address the reason why that harm was created in the first place.
That's the wrong clip. It's the Mark Ruffalo. No? This happens
And
once.
what they do is they prey on our decency. They're preying on our decency. They're preying on our ability to speak the truth to power. That's what this whole anti-fascist move is. Notice they don't call out an organization. They call it anti-fascism, okay? Because they don't want you fighting against fascism.
Antifa.
But that's what we're doing here.
Please. Antifa is, anti-fascist. Is that what it means? It's one of the most fascist organizations out there. These are people that want to prevent you from speaking your mind. These are the people that when a speaker like Ann Coulter wants to go to a college campus because she's invited by people that want to hear her speak, they will show up and resort to violence to prevent people from hearing what she has to say. That's the decency that Mark Ruffalo is talking about. The decency of the left. We saw that on display when Charlie Kirk's neck got blown out. That's the decency of the left. Or when Trump missed having his brains all over national television by a millimeter or so. That's the decency that Mark Ruffalo is talking about. They really believe that they are the moral compass of this country. Hollywood actors, the most debaucherous, sick individuals in this country. The ones with all the secrets and the skeletons falling out of the closets. Very tiny skeletons falling out of their closets. They're the decent ones. Mark Ruffalo. And they all know, even the few that probably don't participate in the debauchery, they know people. They know the stories. They laugh at the inside jokes about it at award shows. So Mark Ruffalo can go screw about the decency of the left. Please. Oh, my God, I'm disgusted. More Hollywood idiots and your calls next.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Hollywood. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ugh. Yeah, George Clooney. Oh, my God. All of them are coming out of the woodwork. All these actors and actresses, they love just coming out of the woodwork and spewing their nonsense. Who do we have here? This is great. This is Mandy Patinkin. You know this guy? He was in Yentl. He's been in a few things over the course of the years. Very popular actor. Evita. He was in the Broadway musical Evita. Anyone that grew up in New York City and is around my age, oh boy, you didn't watch TV in New York without that damn Evita commercial all the time. And he was in that. He is shilling for Zohran Mamdani in New York. This really does amaze me. I don't know how a Jewish person can vote for this Mamdani guy. It just sounds so self-destructive. And, a lot of Jews seem to be pulling for this Mamdani guy. And having the Jewish celebrities, again, they're so out of touch. What does Mandy Patinkin think Zohran Mamdani is going to do for him or his interests as a Jew in New York. I don't know. But he's shilling for him. He is shilling. Here's a clip of Mandy Patinkin throwing his support, throwing his payas in the ring, throwing his yarmulke in the ring for Zohran Mamdani. It's crazy.
Rolling.
Okay, we've got until Tuesday, and don't take anything for granted, right?
No, I've never taken you for granted. I'm not taking this for granted. We are going to win this because we have this extraordinary human being who is going to lead our city and eventually, if we're really thinking, our nation and the world to a better, safer, all-inclusive existence. And that's what I love about this guy.
So please head on over to ZohranForNYC.com/GOTV. Sign up for a shift, knock on some doors, make some phone calls, and let's win a city.
And don't assume anything. Work until the 8th.
And don't listen to her. Listen to him.
His wife.
Well, we will keep working. Yes, for a long, long time. You can't do anything better than get out that vote, get your friends to vote, knock on doors, make some phone calls, and don't waste a second. Drive people to the polls. Get everyone to vote. It matters that they're engaged and that they're changing our city, our country, our world.
Yeah. Another commie. I never understood it, though. Like how you can, look, I'm not Jewish, so I don't understand how you would feel about having a Muslim as the mayor of your city, one that has said some things that it's not just a kind of a cozy religion with Zohran. He's got some extreme ideology, some extreme Muslim ideology. And if you're Jewish in New York City, how do you get on camera and push this guy? You'd think you'd be shunned from the rest of your Jewish friends and family. Maybe he is. I don't know. It's a big thing because I know, like I said, my barometer for this is Sid. Is Sid in the morning there, Sid and Friends over WABC. And, oh, my God, Sid is like frothing when he talks about Zohran. He is like super Jew. He does not want Zohran Mamdani in there. And I understand that. Like, I get that. You don't want somebody that despises you as a people. I could kind of understand that. But Mandy Patinkin gets out there, and it always reminds me of like a trustee. There were these trustees, I guess in Poland, back during the big one in the 30s. It was they would dress some of these Jews up in uniforms and give them truncheons. And they would go around and round up their former neighbors and friends. And they were treated better at the time. They were given food. Because they had a job. They were working with the Nazis. And, it might have gotten them a few more months. But in the end, it didn't work out too well. Once there were no more people to take out of the Warsaw Ghetto, it was pretty much who's left? Oh, the guy with the jacket we gave him and the truncheon. Yeah, all right, you're up. So it does just it never bodes well. And to use that example, it's not just Jews in New York and Zohran being a Muslim. This is just the way it is. You should not look at your enemies, and just because they might do something for you to give you a little leniency or a few more days on this mortal coil, it's still your enemy. So when you see someone like Mandy Patinkin shilling for Zohran Mamdani, oh boy, that's a little much. good luck. Good luck to you. I hope it all works out. Because I think they're pretty much trying to make another Minneapolis or Dearborn, Michigan out of New York City. London, they got that the mayor of London, England over there, and he's turning it into an enclave of Islam. So I don't know. Will it work? Will it happen? Will they be able to get a foothold there in the Big Apple? I don't know, but I wouldn't take a chance. That's for sure. Sean, Rockland County, New York. What's up? Hello.
Hi, Ant. New York is a communist country. Go Buchanan, go! Go Buchanan, go! Go Buchanan!
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he puts on a little voice that talks about Buchanan. Let's go to Larry. Larry, Staten Island. What's up, Larry?
I'm the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the boss.
Love it. What's up, Larry?
Listen, Anthony, I love you. Believe me when I tell you. I just don't understand what's going on here. How can the city be anti-Muslim? The guy won 13%. How can that be?
I don't know. I don't know. I've given up on trying to figure it all out in New York. I walk around. I see a few sensible people on the street, but apparently there's not enough, Larry.
Let me just say one more thing.
Sure.
Again, with the grocery stores. I think I said it to you a couple of weeks ago. He wants to take these grocery stores over. If he can, the city can control them. When the city controls them, they can say, we don't want to sell alcohol. We don't want to sell tobacco.
All right.
We certainly don't sell pork. So take that for what it is, because it's happening throughout parts of the city right now.
Yeah. That would be an outlandish conspiratorial statement, Larry, if we hadn't already seen things like this happening in certain neighborhoods. You get a lot of these predominantly, overwhelmingly Muslim neighborhoods, and they've been going to bodegas and other stores and telling them they do not want them selling any items that are against the Muslim religion. So it's happening there, Larry. It is happening, and it's you can't put anything past anyone these days. You can't just say, "Oh, that won't happen." There's a chance it could. I've seen enough. I've seen too much to discount anything. So yeah, if the state under Zohran Mamdani can take over grocery stores, which I don't think so. I think Zohran's spreading a lot of crap that he has no authority to do. A lot of the taxing he wants to talk about, raising the tax from 7 and change to 11 and change, or match New Jersey's taxes. He can't do that. He cannot raise taxes as the mayor of New York all by his lonesome. So there are a bunch of things that he just can't do. I don't think he can declare eminent domain, and you're a private property owner, and he just goes, well, we're going to do this now with your property. He can't do that. So a lot of the stuff he's saying, this spectacular stuff, this real high price item things, he's just going to sit there and talk about it until he gets elected. And then what? Try to negotiate? Governor Hochul already said, yeah, I'm not raising taxes. Whether she does or not, they constantly lie about that too. But she's on record now as saying she doesn't want to tax people. She's seen what happened. The great Anthony Cumia, one of the great New York taxpayers, abandoned the state because of the nonsense going on there. And she knows that is a distinct possibility for a lot more of her taxpayers. So when Zoran's talking about $700 million for free buses, and he's going to get it from the wealthy New Yorkers by raising their taxes and by raising the corporate tax, almost doubling it, she goes, yeah, no, I'm not raising taxes. She's trying to save her own wrinkly crepe paper neck. But, yeah, Good luck, Zohran. Believe me, though, he's got plenty of power to screw up enough things, but there are some things that I know he's never going to be able to do it. And I think the grocery store thing is one of those pipe dreams, as my Nana used to say. All right, back in a flash. Don't you go anywhere. I'm watching.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And talking about the election, of course, New York City. This is a pretty big one. Nationally, they're looking at it. And I guess, what is that, Prop 50 out there in California? A lot of celebrities are talking about that one. And this kind of ties in to the whole Hollywood thing. The Bruce Springsteen movie. Oh, boy. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Ugh. And you never want to have a catalog of music or movie titles where they could just make fun of you using the movie title or song title. This article is entitled Born to Flop. Born to Flop. Deliver Me From Nowhere is tanking. And the reason people are giving is Springsteen is too dull for a biographical movie about himself. He's a bore, this guy. And his music isn't, he doesn't have a catalog that everyone loves. There are people who genuinely hate Bruce Springsteen and his music, or just, his music. Like, I've never been into Bruce. I don't like Bruce Springsteen's music. And I know a lot of people that don't like Bruce Springsteen's music. It's not this universally accepted thing. Like, there are people that don't like the Beatles, but you'll find a hell of a lot of people that do like the Beatles, right? I think Bruce is kind of this artist that you really have to be into Bruce to want to go see a movie about him. And there's just not that many people. Yeah, he sold plenty of albums. 128 million albums over 52 years. That's a lot of records. And, they say it's just it's not interesting enough. He's a bore. The low-key Deliver Me From Nowhere has perfectly respectable 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's the thing about Rotten Tomatoes, the ratings kind of score for movies. The people lie on it. There's a lot of lying going on. And I think because politically, Bruce has been anti-Trump and anti-MAGA, people will just push his movie and vote it up. Not because they like the movie. This is just a bomb. He's brilliant and talented, the guy that plays him. What's his name? But they say it's a big snooze fest. And that's what's happening. Imagine having the gumption to think you're worthy of a movie. Yeah, 54 years. That's a long music career. And back in the 70s and 80s, Bruce was a big, big name artist. Now, no one really cares that much about Bruce. So, I like that. I like seeing something like that, like Bruce Springsteen, and the fact that, no, a bunch of people don't care what he has to say. Didn't he play for Kamala Harris at one point, and then he get mad at Trump for using one of his songs at a rally. And then he puts this movie out, and he probably thinks, or people put it out, and he probably thinks it's going to be a big success, and it just bombs. So good. Good for you, Bruce. Jon Stewart, Jon Stewart, The Daily Show. He was talking to Zohran Mamdani, and he says He says that Zoran's run for mayor is a big moment historically. And he equates it to another big moment in history as far as racial equality goes. So here's John talking to Zoran.
I wish you all the best. Honestly, I think any New Yorker who looks at someone getting an opportunity, who's representing communities that have not been as represented, a Muslim, a young person, a progressive, a democratic socialist, there are so many different communities that are looking to you, and this, I hate to put it on you, as a bit of a Jackie Robinson moment. And I know that probably wields some weight, but man, oh man, what an exciting opportunity.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best.
Thank you. The audiences, all those shows, The Daily Show, The View, Colbert, all the audience members with their brain dead. A Jackie Robinson moment. And then he tells him because he's Muslim and he's was born of African parents, that it somehow makes him more qualified. Is that it? I don't know. But Jackie Robinson moment. What do you think David Dinkins? How do you think David Dinkins feels about that? David Dinkins was a black guy, and he was elected mayor of New York. He was an abomination as mayor. But, I mean, you want to talk about a Jackie Robinson moment, one of those breakthrough moments in racial equality. You'd have to say it was Dinkins. He was a black guy, and he got elected mayor and really screwed New York up. But Jon Stewart always thinks he's being profound, and he puts on that fake emotion thing. Kimmel does that too all the time. The little whiny liberal guy, fake emotion. Remember when the tragedy of 9/11, and I say remember because apparently a lot of people forgot. You look around now, apparently a lot of people forgot. But Jon Stewart was doing The Daily Show, and he just starts crying. And look, I know that was a tough nut to crack, that one. But he's crying on The Daily Show, and then he goes, and I used to be able to see the Trade Center towers out my window. But now, I can see the Statue of Liberty. And he's crying, and it's like, yeah, I couldn't help but just think, shut up. How about you shut up? Just whining. And this is another one, hey, I don't want to put too much weight on you, but I'm happy for all the best. Like this is a big, emotional, historic moment. What, to destroy New York again? Yeah, Dinkins was bad. Mamdani, I don't know if they have more checks and balances in place now. I don't think they do. But I don't know if a mayor can really do as much damage than Dinkins did. But he'll give it a try. I'm going to really love to see who Mamdani appoints as police chief and, his administration, and see what a complete nightmare that's going to be. Because, the NYPD runs off of the commissioner. The mayor appoints him, and then you're stuck with that guy. That guy is now the voice and giving the orders for what the NYPD does. And we have seen the nightmare that happens in New York when a commissioner is put there that is not qualified for that job and has certain political agendas that will make it impossible for them to actually fight crime the way it needs to be fought in a city like New York. So, good luck. Good luck with that. And there's Jon Stewart, You're going to be happy with him. Stewart still lives in New York, I guess. You're going to be happy with a Zohran Mamdani as your mayor, right, John? Are you? Another Jewish guy rah-rahing for a Muslim mayor. I just don't get it. I don't get it, you guys. All right, we'll be back in moments. Don't go anywhere. More show to come.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, yes. And sticking with, Hollywood, our celebrities, our royalty, really. Isn't that what they are, America? They're American royalty. Oh, boy, we used to think this. We really used to think about that. The glamour, the gala, the Tinseltown. And we were like, we were so captivated with the goings-on of American royalty. And now, I'd step right over one if they were laying down in the street. Rosie O'Donnell is, she's asking for your prayers because her daughter is in jail. Here in America, by the way. Oh, yeah, she has an adopted daughter that she got a few years back. I guess when things were going well, she needed, what are they, like a pocketbook dog? Or something fancy like a car, just something, an attention getter. So she decided, because she's a lesbian also, she can't actually want to have kids the normal way. Oh, geez, that's disgusting to Rosie O'Donnell, and probably to any man that would be asked to perform that. But Rosie decided to adopt, and she adopted a little kid. And the girl grew up, and I can only imagine the nightmare of having Rosie O'Donnell as your mom. And, the poor kid turned into a real problem, drug addict, homeless, and criminal, committing some crimes, and they've put the daughter in jail. What did Rosie do to help this kid out? Leave the entire country because of, Trump. She had to get out of the United States and go to Ireland because of Donald Trump. So, it's an adopted kid. She has problems raising this child. The child grows up to be a real handful, as they say. And Rosie just can't deal with it. So she ends up on the streets. Rosie's got a lot of money. What she doesn't have, apparently, in my humble opinion, is any type of heart, any type of real feelings towards someone. She's a wreck. I think we all know this. Whenever you hear her speak from Ireland now, she's on all the news shows, and she's got such a flaming case of Trump derangement system that she cannot think of anything else. And it looks like she's abandoned this poor kid that she adopted as some, seeking attention, like Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest. I bet it was really similar to that movie or book. I hear it was a book too. What? Who reads? It's a movie. And then you stopped hearing about her child, and there were no more pictures. She loved taking pictures with her newly adopted young daughter. And then that stopped. You stopped hearing about it. But now Rosie was asking for your prayers, people. So make sure you pray for Rosie. I don't know. Does she want the prayers for herself or for the kid? But she left the country. You would think, I don't like Trump. I don't like his policies. I don't want to live under the Trump presidency, so I'm going to leave. You would think you would have to consider that you have a daughter that you adopted and raised poorly, and now she's here in this country in jail, and you've done Nothing. You're offering, prayers. You're hoping that gets people, that satisfies the public instead of being there for the girl, maybe using some of that money to get her help or maybe even legal help just so she doesn't have to go to jail. And you just pick up and leave the country. That's your Hollywood celebrity. That's their mindset. That's the caring. And the decency that Mark Ruffalo was talking about. That's who they are. It's all about them. The most narcissistic bunch. It's all about them. What about me? What about my life? I want to leave. I want to go to Ireland. What about your kid? I gave it a shot. Look, what can I tell you? I gave it a shot. She's on her own now. In jail. And Rosie, hops on Aer Lingus, and she's thousands of miles away from the problem she created. Oh, I cannot stand Rosie. And I guess this might be the last part of our celebrity segments for this evening. Angelina Jolie. The lovely Angelina Jolie. And she's another idiot. I mean, has anyone ever told this woman anything she didn't want to hear? Do you think anyone has ever set her straight about something? Maybe her dad, who she is alienated from. The hell's his name? That actor? He's like a real right-wing guy. Yeah. John Voight. John Voight's-Ka. John Voight. So Angelina Jolie has been kind of a bug up his butt for a while, and she's really liberal. But they always, here's another thing with Hollywood celebrities. Like everything, they're actors. They make believe. They take what's written and they read it and they stand where they're told, because they don't have any real opinions on things. And they have to be over dramatic about everything. Everything has to be on 10. And everything is taken to the umpteenth level. So if there's a little problem, they turn it into this life-threatening existential threat against democracy. If Trump is building a ballroom and he's got to tear down the East Wing before he can rebuild it and connect it to the thing. Oh, Trump is destroying the White House, the people's house. So they're always on 11 and very overdramatic. So here's Angelina Jolie. Let's hear her. Apparently, she doesn't recognize her country.
Say that I love my country.
No, you don't.
But I don't at this time recognize my country. And I think that's, but I've always lived internationally. I've always, my family's international, my friends, my life, my worldview is equal, united, international. So anything, anywhere that divides or, of course, limits personal expressions and freedoms and from anyone, I think is very dangerous. And I think these are such serious times that we have to be careful not to say things casually. So I'll be careful during a press conference, but to say that, of course, like all of you and everyone watching, these are very, very heavy times we're all living in together.
Was that a humble brag? That she lives internationally? I live internationally. My opinions aren't so myopic like you peasants in America that don't get to travel the globe and see all that I have seen. I don't recognize my country anymore. Yeah, because of people like you, because of the loony left and Hollywood. That's why you don't recognize it. What did you recognize when you were a kid, when you were a much younger person, and we weren't as insane as we are now? Well, who changed that? Who changed that? Conservatives, Republicans, the right? We seem to have kind of a sane country. We had our issues and our divisions and whatnot, but nothing like it is now. So when you don't recognize the country, why? Because there's big, fat, bald men in dresses reading to children? Is that something you don't recognize because it never happened previous when you were younger? Is that part of what you don't recognize? Freedom of speech, the ability, you talk about the world and people, you don't want to see people oppressed and you want their freedoms. You want them to be able to enjoy their freedoms. Oh, like getting shot while you're speaking to college students, or having an organization that apparently doesn't exist, like Antifa, throttling people that just want to hear a different opinion. Is that it? Angelina Jolie? They're all from the same mold. It seems impossible. It just seems impossible. Go to any other industry, any similar thing where a bunch of people do one thing. Hollywood, actors, producers, the movie industry, TV. They're all in one business, and they all have the same ideology, the same way that condescending speak that they do to the commoners, and they all support the same left-wing nonsense. And you're like, I don't know. When I was in HVAC doing heating and air conditioning, I don't remember everyone having the same opinion. Do all plumbers think the same way because they're all in the same business? I don't know. I've seen liberal and conservative plumbers. Why is Hollywood just this place where every person has to have the same exact left-wing, extreme left-wing agenda? And some people have speculated that many of them don't think that way, that they have to, shut their doors in their mansions and speak the way they want to speak. But I don't think so. I don't think so. They're good at acting, but they're very bad at being themselves because they don't have the material. Maybe that is the material. Maybe this left-wing character has been handed out to all of them at some point. And this is who they have to be when they're not acting as someone else on a set, a movie or TV show. And that's who they are, because they are devoid of any personality. We think that's their personality. But truth is, they don't even really have a personality. Like nothing, like a Twilight Zone episode, nothing. And then they've been given this left-wing agenda character that they have to be. And they're all given the same script, but they're told, make it your own. You could own it a little bit. Make it your own. Punch it up a little. And then they play these characters because they're too vapid and unintelligent and devoid of any real emotion or personality. So this was all given to them. And then there's a few of them that say, no, I'm good. They go off script. And then they're shunned and banned from Hollywood. So maybe what we're seeing is them just acting. I don't know. You can't tell me that it's a coincidence. No one can convince me that it's just a big coincidence that everyone in one industry all think the same thing, say the same things, feel the same way. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Sandra from the Garden State of New Jersey. What's up, Sandra?
Oh, hello there. Hold on. Oh, my God. I screwed up my phone here, Anthony. Oh. Hold on. Oh,
My
can
phone,
you hear me?
You spilt your cocktail into your Sports Illustrated football phone, didn't you?
Oh, this is the second time today this happened. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
I am
Hi,
here.
Sandra. How
All
are
right.
you?
Do you hear me now? Do you hear me?
I hear you, like the old commercial.
Okay. Okay. You know, I wanted to say, you said before you just don't get it about this election and how people could think Mamdani. I don't get it either. There's someone in my building, a resident, a nice man. I did a notary for him. And, you know, you have to talk to these people and make it fun.
That's like foreplay at your age, right?
What are you talking about age all the time? So anyway, so I don't either. So anyway, so we're talking and he tells me he has a husband and he tells me that he has a mother who lives in Israel. And I conclude that this man is Jewish. He has a mother in Israel and he talks all about Israel. And I'm so happy to know, a nice Jewish friend in the building.
I think you also concluded that he's gay, right, Sandra?
Well, that part I don't care about. I just know that
I don't
he's
either.
Jewish.
I'm just saying, you know.
All right. I don't care about that part. But my point is, so I texted him one day. I said, by the way, if you lived in New York, who would you vote for? He said, Mamdani.
Oh, boy.
So I write back to him. I say, why? What politics does he have that you like? He never answered me. But when I see him again, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to say, you know, I don't understand this. You're Jewish. Why would you vote for someone who does not like you? I mean, this is what I'm going to ask him.
Yeah.
So that
well,
was
you should, Sandra. And the gay thing does matter because we know damn well that a lot of Muslims don't really appreciate the gay lifestyle.
That's right. That's correct. So I'm going to let him hear me out when the time is right. But then I wanted to also say, this morning, Dick Morris said that Curtis is going up in the polls more so than Cuomo. So I don't know who to believe.
Truth is, Sandra, you can't believe anybody. It's really a shame that things like the news and polling has become something that no one has faith in. So no one's going to really know until Election Day. So, but it looks like it's going to be Mamdani. Miracles happen. Who knows, Sandra? But thank you for. You got one more thing? All right, one more.
Okay. I don't usually write on X, but I did. I wrote on your name, under your name. I'm wondering, did you ever get to see it or you didn't? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. That's my question.
I don't know. But we can't go through IT and start trying to find out what might have gone wrong with your account. But I'll look for it. Look for it, Sandra. I get a lot of people on my account. I'm a very popular man. Thank you, Sandra. There she goes. It is so funny when it's like, the high tech thing, you know, X, and I gotta, did it post? All right, did you turn it on? Did you turn it off? Unplug it? Did you unplug it? Did you restart your router? That's adorable. Adorable when they try to use gadgets, isn't it? But, it's just, you know, there are a lot of liberal gay people in New York, and that's a whole nother thing where you look and go, what, are you out of your mind? They don't like you. Yes, they don't like you. That was the same thing like the gays going around, gays for Palestine. It's like, what? You know, at some point you might have to draw a line and go, hey, you know, I don't like seeing people suffer, and this has been going on for a while, and these people and those people and whatever it is. But sometimes you got to take a personal vested interest and go, they hate me to the point where they want me dead. So why the hell would I offer up any support? How about I'm just quiet on it? I don't have to support their enemy either. But I'm certainly not going to support them because they hate me to the point where they want me dead because of my beliefs or lifestyle or what have you. So that one I don't get either. But I think they're all a little kooky. Any liberal, you see them at these demonstrations, and they're all a little off, right? Yeah. All right. We will be back in moments. Don't go anywhere. Anthony Cumia Show returns in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, yes. Yes, it is. And let's go to Matt in Montana. You're in Montana there, huh, man?
Yeah, I'm a transplant, and I'm like you. I'm watching my home state of New York from afar.
Yeah, Montana. That gets cold in the winter, bro. I had to go down south.
It sure does. It's intense.
Yeah, screw that. Anyway, what's up?
Well, I just, I'm retired NYPD, and I'm looking at this election, and I see a guy like Curtis, and I see Cuomo, and I see Mamdani, and in all my years on the street, I met Curtis out on the street organically a handful of times. He's been out there for years.
Yeah.
He's a real New Yorker.
Yeah, he's out there. I've seen him plenty of times over the course of the years, walking around, talking to people, handing out cards for something. So, yeah, I think as a citizen, he understands New York and its problems more than Mamdani or Cuomo. But he just doesn't have that, the political smooth. He's rough around the edges. People don't like the beret. They want to talk about cats like it's a thing. So I don't know. But he seemed like a nice guy all the time and seems like he really does kind of care about what's going on in New York. But, the New York voters, they could care less.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't have the juice. But it's like I want to see New York do well. But then again, maybe like you, the worse it gets there, the better I feel where I am. I don't know.
Yeah, you always want to feel like you made the right move. So the worse it gets, kind of, makes you think that you did the right thing. I hear you, Matt. Later, bro. Yeah. A lot of people leave, especially cops. Cops, once they retire, they don't want any part of that state anymore. I know quite a few retired NYPD that have gotten out of Dodge, gone to various other states. They enjoy the states with no state tax, things like that. Why would you retire? You got a pension. You barely got through your 20-year stint without either getting killed or brought up on charges for something. They're just doing your job. And now what? You're going to dole out money to New York State and New York City because they need money for ridiculous programs? Nope. A lot of New York cops get out of there. Good for them. Montana, though? Oof. That's like the Arctic. That is Arctic cold. I want no part of that. All right, we'll take one more call. We'll go to my good friend Joaquin. Joaquin, what's up,
Anthony.
man? Hey,
you want to know something? I actually want to cry when I look at the Statue of Liberty myself.
Yeah,
because really,
for
when it
different
comes
reason.
right down to it, was sloppy seconds. It was originally designed. It was originally designed for Muslims, right? They rejected it, and it came here, and the head had to be remade for us.
I never heard that one.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, I believe it was supposed to go on the Suez Canal. And where does it come from? It comes from that bastion of liberalism and leftists, the leftist breeding ground, France. Where almost all of your communist revolutionaries got educated.
Oh, yeah. No, I've many times, I've never heard of that story, but I know that they gifted us with the wonderful Statue of Liberty, and it's like, thanks a lot. It's like gifting a neighbor with a sign that says, everyone welcome, just come on into my neighbor's house. Thanks a lot. And then they put that dumb plaque on it, and everyone thinks that's some kind of a thing that's a federal government pledge that we have to take that wretched refuse. Thanks a lot, France. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also, too, what other phobias are there out there aside from Islamophobia, and what's the other one they like to use, xenophobia? Is there such thing as Hindu phobia or Christian phobia or Jewish phobia?
I don't think people have problems with Hindus. Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself a question. There must be a reason for this. And then actually, what I told Vinny on the screen was that Cuomo, this whole thing is just. I find it so nauseating. Just the thought that if I lived in New York, which I don't, luckily, if I had to pull the lever for Cuomo, I would get sick to my stomach, just the very thought of it, okay? And the thing of it is how is it Cuomo's gotten set up now to be the knight in shining armor, you know, riding on that white horse, you know, coming to New York's emotional rescue, okay? And it almost seems like the Democrats set this thing up or saw a path here at some point. You know, it's a win-win. They get Mamdani.
Right,
it's a win for them because they want to turn the country Muslim. But if they get Cuomo and he does a good job in the city and he wants to run for president because all of their other candidates are, you know, turds.
Yeah.
They could resurrect Cuomo.
Maybe. I think. Thank you, Joaquin. I'm going to have to shove in a couple of seconds here, but yeah, Cuomo. He's damaged goods, so I don't know how well he'd do in a presidential race, but who knows these days. All right, back in moments. Stick around for more of the show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back to the Anthony Cumia Show. And my goodness, you know, a day without Kamala Harris is like a day without sunshine, I think they say. And she's out on the book tour thing. And then what? Michelle Obama's got a book out. And Barack is out stumping for various candidates. And I just can't stand this time of year around the election when we have to see these people rearing their ugly heads again. So Kamala Harris, she put a book out, and I guess she has to crap on Joe Biden and throw him under the bus in some sense. She won't go as far as to admit that this guy had a progressive form of dementia over the course of his tenure as president, and she was right there with him. And everyone saw it. We all knew it. And she still, to this day, when she's asked certain questions, I didn't know. I just thought, you know, he was sharp, and he was the first one in the meetings, and he was up early, and all this nonsense that we heard over the years. And we knew it was all lies. So Camilla's out there now trying to sell her book. And here's like the first kind of thing I've heard of her throwing him under the bus, just a little bit. She said that Biden gave her a call before her debate with Donald Trump. Now, obviously, Biden had been thrown out by George Clooney and Barack Obama and the rest. But someone screwed up, I think Nancy Pelosi, and endorsed Kamala Harris, and that started that whole ball of wax rolling. And Joe Biden was very angry at Kamala Harris at this point and at Pelosi. So she gets a call from Joe Biden right before the debate, and she's under the impression this is going to be a, hey, go get him. You know, here's a few pointers. I'll give you some pointers from my stellar debate performance of a couple of months ago. Remember? Yeah. We remember. But it was not. It was not a rah-rah, go get him kind of a motivating speech from the president. Let's hear what Kamala has to say.
I'm in the hotel room with Doug, with my husband, and the president calls, and I was told that he wanted to call me so that I'd be ready, and I was so sure it was to buck me up and go get him. And he did say that for the first beat. And then he went on to talk about a group of people in Pennsylvania who were saying bad things about me because they heard I was saying bad things about him. And when I hung up the phone, it was unbelievable. And I was angry and deeply disappointed. It was so unnecessary. There are only two people in the world other than me that has debated this guy, Hillary Clinton and him. And you know what it's like. It's going into a debate with the stakes being that high, and Trump hadn't agreed to another debate. The stakes were so high. So that's an example of what I mean.
You took something from that. You took an underlying message about one's intentions from that, because I would. If someone called me in the lead up to debate prep and said something like that to me, I would assume that they don't want the best for me.
My takeaway is his motivation was all about himself.
That's what I would assume from that.
Yeah.
I would assume that.
Yeah, right. Obviously, right. Yeah.
Damn.
It wasn't about my performance at the debate.
Damn. See? We knew. We knew this. We knew damn well Joe Biden wanted no part of helping Kamala Harris in any way, shape, or form. Not a bit. And combined with his narcissistic dementia, yeah, that's what he's going to do. You didn't learn anything about Joe Biden being his vice president for 4 years, seeing how he operated as vice president under Obama, seeing how he operated in the Senate. What? Who did you think you were talking to? And then you add in a little dementia and that narcissism, and yeah, he's going to make it about him. He doesn't like you. Joe Biden does not like Kamala Harris. Even sane, not dementia-riddled Joe Biden doesn't like Kamala Harris. When he went to pick his vice president, we all remember, I want a black woman. Just pick one, anyone. Yeah, he didn't talk about qualifications or that he liked this person or respected this person. Give me a skin color and a set of genitalia. That's what his decision was. So when his entire party hoisted him over the side of the boat and threw him out, he wasn't going to call Kamala with a nice rah-rah, go get him, you're my girl kind of speech. And by the way, she knew this. She knew all of this long before. Every question she ever got about Joe's cognitive ability, she knew. But they had to follow that party line. She was told, this is what you say. He's sharp as a tack. He's a great guy, the best president ever. Me and Joe, we work together on everything. Remember that? It's the Biden-Harris administration, not just Biden. Meanwhile, he couldn't stand her. He didn't want anything to do with her input as far as his presidency went, for when he was actually being the acting president. God knows when that ended, probably day one, probably Inauguration Day, when Barack Obama and company started pulling those strings. But, you know, this woman is so delusional. She's out there with the book tour, and I love the hinting. So, Madam Vice President, any ideas on maybe running for president again? Well, let me tell you, I've been thinking about it. Have you? Because no one wants you as their president. They wanted a female president. They wanted a black female president. They wanted anyone but Trump. Again, where does Kamala Harris fit into that? Where does she fit into that? Where now they would vote for her as their to have her as a candidate, because she's got to go through a primary process now. She didn't have to do that this last election. And the election before that, when she was in the primaries, she was done before Iowa. She was like, oh, well, I got no one that wants me to be president, so I'll suspend my campaign. And she's the same woman. Everyone feels the same way about her, if not worse than they did back when she was running in 2020. Yeah, she's a non-entity. She's annoying, and no one really thinks of her seriously as a candidate. But again, I guess that bubble, all the yes men. My husband said, oh, did he? I would make a great president. Okay. So, yeah, that's Kamala. She also had something else. She wants the voting age lowered to 16. 16. Have you seen the average 16-year-old? Have you tried to listen to the average 16-year-old? It's not good. They don't know what they're talking about, and they shouldn't. Believe me, I'm not saying that they're bad and that they're bad people, or that you're supposed to be an idiot at 16. It's actually part of your job as a 16-year-old to make some of the worst decisions in your life and hope you muddle through and make it to a point where you can look back and go, what a complete idiot I was. And she wants to give them the vote. This is madness. And, you know, her excuse for it is that 16-year-olds, they really are into the ins and outs. They know about things like climate change. That's why. It's climate change. She's thinking that if they were able to vote, they'd vote on these issues that old people don't care about. Oh, you old fogey, you don't care about climate change. Now, is she this insanely idiotic to not know that we see right through that? That many young people are liberals, 16-year-olds. They're the ones with the face full of piercings and the blue hair, and, you know, 50% of them think there's some other gender. They're nuts. And again, they should be. But they vote Democrat. So when Kamala Harris starts talking about, it's climate change, not the fact that they will increase Democrats' chances of winning any election. So I'll play that right when we get back, because we'll take a quick break and return with more of the Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We are back with the Anthony Cumia Show, and Kamala, she wants the vote to go to the well-thought-out, responsible 16-year-old. I mean, they don't even give them a real license at that age. You got like your permit, and you get something on your license that says, you know, you're not old enough, but you know, the power of the vote. Let them vote. It's insane. It should be 21. The age to vote should absolutely be 21 years old. But 16's insane. But of course, Kamala Harris thinks that. Because again, if she wants to run, she's going to need every single liberal moron vote she can get. And the vast majority of kids in this country at 16-year-old are, you'd call them liberals. So here she is. Here's Kamala trying to sell that point.
I think we should reduce voting age to 16. I'll tell you why. So Gen Z, they're age about 13 through 27. They've only known the climate crisis. They missed substantial parts of their education because of the pandemic. If they're in high school or college, especially in college, it is very likely that whatever they've chosen as their major for study may not result in an affordable wage. They've coined the term climate anxiety to describe fear of not only being able to buy a home, but that fear will be wiped out by extreme weather, but fear of having children. It is expected that Gen Z will have 10 to 12 jobs in their lifetime. They are a larger number than boomers. They're a specific generation of people who are going to impact our nation and the world. And I think we must invest in them, but I think that they are rightly impatient with a lot of what is the tradition of leadership right now. And if they were able to vote, because they know everything that's happening right now is going to impact them more than anybody older than them for the most part, in terms of how these systems work. If they're voting right now at 16 and up, they're going to be talking about the importance of climate. They're going to be talking about the importance of figuring out how AI is going to affect the future of the workforce.
No, they're not.
They're going to be focused on what are we really doing about affordable housing? And basically in politics, here's the hard truth about this. There are two centers of power that tend to influence how politicians think. Groups that vote the most and people who write the most checks. And I'm going to go every day with the people, and thinking about how do we strengthen people actually going to the polls and voting.
That's the word salad. Oh, my God. Was she actually trying to say that 16-year-olds are thinking of the tough issues about affordable housing? What? Climate change. They're a bunch of emotional, immature people. If a 16-year-old voted for something or against something, whatever, just voted on an agenda, a candidate, whatever it is, I guarantee you 4 years later, they would vote exactly the opposite. They would look at what they voted for at 16 and go, oh, what a jerk. What a dope I was. Affordable housing. What did I know about affordable housing? You think 16-year-olds are thinking anything about their future? They emotionally spout off about their future. They'll carry gay flags and Palestinian flags and march and hold signs with something on the sign that they don't even know what it is when they're questioned about it. So why are you here? Why are you here protesting today? Oh, get away from me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. And you want to open that wondrous, marvelous voter base to make decisions about real issues in this country. Oh, my God. Did you hear the silence, too? I don't know. I guess she had an interviewer there with her. But when she goes, I want to change the voting age to 16. And it's just silence. Now, let me tell you why. Yeah, you better tell us why. Because that doesn't make any sense. No one in their right mind would want a 16-year-old making any decisions. Ask any parent of a 16-year-old. They won't let him decide what to put in the refrigerator. Oh, I'm going shopping. What do you want? No, I'll do the shopping. You're not intelligent enough to know what to buy to put into the refrigerator. You're 16. Would she just toss the keys of a car to a 16-year-old and not ask any questions? Hey, where are you going? What are you doing with friends? Are you going to be responsible? Whose house? Nah, just give it to him. 16. Climate change. What a dope. What an absolute idiot she is. It's great she's on their side, though. That's what it's all about. You keep plugging there, Kamala. Keep thinking you have any shot of being president with your word salad, your drunken slurring, and ideas like let's let 16-year-olds vote. They let them cut off their own healthy breasts. I mean, why wouldn't they allow them to vote? What a psycho bunch the left is. Just a psycho bunch. This is Pritzker. He is your Illinois governor. And he has something to say about Donald Trump. And, of course, he uses terms like bootlickers and book burners. You know, he's never called Trump a Nazi. I believe that was him. Never called Trump a Nazi. But all of the Nazi language, not German, the language of being a Nazi, that's Trump to this guy and to a lot of people on the left. So let's listen to what he says about Trump. This is Governor Pritzker.
Let's talk about what we're up against in 2025. President Trump and his bootlickers have torn down the U.S. Department of Education from the inside. Instead of helping to improve math and reading scores like you all are doing and supporting our educators, they're making it harder for students to get ahead. Books are being banned. History is being erased. Republicans want to take billions away from public schools and pump it into private institutions. They want to punish teachers for telling the truth. They want to criminalize educators for supporting LGBTQ students. They want to turn classrooms into cultural war battlegrounds.
What?
And I'm sorry to be vulgar, but Donald Trump and his cronies can all the way off.
Whoa! Another F-bomb dropped by a politician. No decorum left anymore. None. There is none left. And this Pritzker talking like that and then just lying about book banning. I mean, really? The books that are being banned in schools, in middle school, are perverse books that maybe parents don't want their kids. Maybe they want to make the decision as to whether their children read books like that and have access to it in the schools. Department of Education, money being taken, for redundant jobs and transgender studies and all that other nonsense. If there's a battle going on in the classroom, it's because some gender queer teacher is hanging up a gay flag in the classroom and dividing that classroom up instead of teaching the kids. So again, pure projection on the part of Pritzker here, because the left is notorious for dividing and for saying this is the way it's going to be. We don't care what you think. We don't care what your feelings are, and we'll rip down every institution. Erasing history? Who is pulling up statues? All right, back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And a couple of more things to get to on the program. We can't get through a show without having to go to Jazzy Jasmine Crockett. She's, oh boy, people are crowning her the next big thing. With, people speculating perhaps Jazzy Jasmine is going to throw her wig in the arena, throw her weave into the arena and try to be president, try to run for president. I would love to see her even try to get through the primaries. Oh, would that be hilarious? It'd be Kamala Harris all over again. No votes, 0 votes. So Jasmine, of course, she's got issues with Trump. Oh, boy, a sneeze. She's got issues with Trump, always has. Trump has issues with her, but he pretty much just ignores her. He'll bring her up every so often. Low IQ. He likes saying that she's very low IQ. And if she wants to be taken seriously, why is she putting out videos talking about Trump trying to run for a third term? Now, you might say, Anthony, I've heard Trump say that. Trump has put out hats. He's put out 2028, Trump 2028 hats that you could pick up and at the White House. He's had them on the desk when Chuck Schumer and Hakeem were in there, which is hilarious. So why is Jasmine the idiot here when Trump has been saying this all along? Because if you don't understand you're being trolled, then you're an idiot, and you have no place, especially running for president, if that is her goal here. But to even bring this up, it just discredits you for whatever little credit you have, Jazz. Thinking that he's really going to try to run for a third term is doing exactly what he put that out there for. He wants you to talk about the third term because you look like a mental patient doing it. Trump will serve until Inauguration Day in January of 2029. And that's it. Just like he did in 2020. He left office as per the Constitution, even though, there was some shenanigans going on. But here's Jazzy Jasmine Crockett talking about Trump's third term.
All I know is no, sir, you will not get a third term. That's not going to happen. I mean, the Supreme Court going to have to find a big boy and big girl panties and do what's right. The Constitution is very clear, sir. And frankly, you never should have had one term. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, you were never qualified to be president of the United States, not once, but definitely not twice. And your incompetencies are showing. Your own people, yes, my home girl, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is also very disappointed in you. Listen, you are a loser. And unfortunately, we all are being dragged down with you in your loser ways.
Good one. I don't know how Trump is going to snap back from that. Wow. That had to hurt. The Supreme Court going to have to do they or there. How you can be a politician and not speak properly, thinking it's going to give you some credibility with your people by saying they instead of their. I went to their house. I went to they house. Do you think that's helping? When Jazzy Jasmine Crockett talks about helping her constituency and bringing people up, we like to build people up. And do you think it does a community well to have a woman in a position of power, in a seat of power, that cannot speak properly or chooses? She can speak properly. We all know the hood rat impression she does. We've heard her speak properly. She went to school, very nice schools. She was raised in a very nice household. But she's got to, ghetto it up for what? To come across like you understand people that might not be doing as well as you. So you have to lower the bar on your grammar and perhaps influence someone else. You could be making a difference and maybe influence somebody to speak properly. And maybe that'll build up into something like, getting a better job when your application doesn't look like you're a blithering idiot. But no, the Supreme Court going to have to do they thing. Oh, God. It's exhausting. Third term. Just relax. Just relax about the third term, Jazzy. Jasmine Crockett. Then we have, who's this? This is Mayor Brandon Johnson. This is, of course, Chicago's mayor, Brandon Johnson. He has been up in arms, just does not want Donald Trump to do anything in Chicago. regardless of how many lives it might save. He'd rather have the bodies stack up on the weekends, holidays, just any average day. He doesn't mind. Brandon Johnson doesn't mind if young black men in Chicago are murdering each other on the daily. Now, Donald Trump sees a problem. He sees crime, violent crime in Chicago. It is, I believe, the number one city for violent crime and murder in the country. And Donald Trump goes, yeah, let's do something. Because week after week, we see these numbers. And it's just more young people being piled up, and they're doing nothing about it. Because in order to do something about it, you're going to have to look like a guy that doesn't support every single thing the community does, good or bad. So you can't do that. You need votes. Because it involves getting tough and calling out some hard truths to some of the people. And they don't want to do that. They'd rather have dead bodies. It's the only conclusion I could come to. So Trump goes, yeah, we'll go in there while we're doing the raids, the ICE raids. We'll get the National Guard in there. And we'll make sure that some of the more dangerous areas of Chicago are dangerous no more. And he has gotten pushbacks and fights, and they do not want this to happen, especially Mayor Johnson over there in Chicago. So here he is. What is this? The Trump is racist. Okay, sure. He describes some of the things that ICE and some of law enforcement are doing in Chicago. It sounds terrible if it's happening. I haven't seen a video of it, but all right. Here's Mayor Brandon Johnson from Chicago.
No one is going to convince me what the Trump administration is doing against black people and brown people can ever be justified. It is racist. When you have black babies being thrown in the back of vans, zip tied in the middle of the night, and masked men sticking guns in the faces of black and brown people, that is nasty, is vicious, is racist. Dr. King described it as an evil. Militarism and that formation is an evil.
That's an evil. So wearing masks and shoving guns in people's faces, that is going on in Chicago, by the way, Mr. Mayor. That is going on. There are kids, there might not be getting their hands zip tied. They're being shot by masked men with guns. But it's not ICE, and it's not Chicago Police Department, and it's not the National Guard doing it. It's young men in Chicago, thugs, drug dealers, whatever, teens. That term is used a lot. A group of teens today. But, you know, you would think Mayor Johnson would address that issue, the real issue, the one going on right now. Not the one where law enforcement is sent into cities like Chicago to try to fulfill one of Donald Trump's campaign promises of returning illegal aliens back to their country. That's what they're doing. And if anything happens where people are getting in the way of their orders, they will be arrested too. And if they pull someone out of a car because they're not complying, and there's a person in the car, 16, 17, 18 years old, they'll pull them out too and cuff them. Babies? I don't know. I've yet to see a baby being zip tied. That's the words Mayor Brandon Johnson used. Black and brown babies are being zip tied, because I would absolutely have seen that video. You know, I saw a fake one. It was a cop playing around with a young child, and he cuffed the kid and was leading the kid away, but it was a joke. And it was presented on social media as ICE arresting a young Mexican girl. There was another one where it was a woman in her 20s that was walking down the middle of the street. She was very tiny. She was like a midget. You know them midgets that don't look like midgets? A midget. They didn't have like the big head. Just thank you. It was a woman. And she looked very small, and she was cuffed, and all you could see was the cop and her from the back against the cop car. And the text was, here it is, a young girl being arrested for by ICE. And it wasn't ICE. It was a sheriff, and it was a woman, and he had a reason to have her in cuffs. But they have to lie. They have to lie about those things. And if Mayor Johnson had any ambition to stop the pain and violence and murder going on in Chicago, he would take care of what's going on right now and allow his police force to do what they need to do. And he wouldn't get up there and blame Trump for being a racist and zip tying black and brown babies' hands. He'd get up there and tell some of the hard truths that need to be told to the people of Chicago and let them know that that type of behavior is not going to stand anymore. But could you even in your wildest hallucination imagine him doing that? This guy is so detrimental to Chicago. Worse than Lori Lightfoot. And, like we don't have enough previews of what this is like in New York. You're just going to vote in this Zohran Mamdani, who will not put an effective, competent police commissioner in place. New York is lucky in that the NYPD is like an army. They have so many people. It's just bodies at that point. Doesn't matter if they're fat, women, midgets. They're just they're people. There are a lot of people, a lot of cops, and that helps. Just the presence of a cop helps thwart crime. But that could be undermined by a mayor who appoints a police commissioner that does not allow the cops to even do their jobs, to go into certain areas. Why do we need a cop there when we could send a social worker? That's one of Mamdani's plans. Social worker could take one of those free buses and float across one of the flooded streets to get to the impending murder that the social worker is going to be a victim of. It's I don't know. I don't know what you did, Chicago. Chicago, you guys are a little wild over there with not knowing what you're voting for. And then speaking of Mamdani, we got one more Mamdani clip for the night, and this is him. He's talking about prisons. Prisons apparently do not make a city safer. Locking away people that have committed heinous crimes, getting them off the street, putting them away. You're silly if you think that is making the city any safer. Listen to Zohran, and he'll tell you why.
The way that prisons are set up in our society, I would argue that they do not work. They do not make us safer. The instinct is to just take that person, the source of that harm, the source of that issue, and then just throw them away.
Yup.
Put them in a cage and throw away the key.
Thank you.
That doesn't address the reason why that harm was created in the first place. A lot of times, people who create trauma for others are those who themselves went through trauma earlier in their own lives.
Oh.
And I bring all of this up to say that, again, like when we talk about policing, I don't think the system actually makes us safer. I think what it does is it just removes problems out of view. It just.
This guy is the leading candidate for mayor of New York City. And you just heard him there. Prisons, locking people away. We tend to think, if there's a criminal, we just want to get rid of them. We want to throw them into a prison. Yeah, yes, please. That does work. Because it got worse when they stopped making them pay bail to get out of the jails. But there he is, Just saying it. Like anyone wouldn't listen to that and go, you are nuts. Locking away violent people it does make a city safer. How do you not see that? You lock away a violent person, they can't be on the streets with civil members of society to hurt, rob, and kill them. So street is safer. There you go. And then if he wants to bring up that maybe they had some trauma, maybe the poor perp had some trauma as a child, and that's what needs to be addressed, that's going to make the streets safer by not locking him away in jail and by trying to pat his little head and rub his back and tell him everything's okay. We love you, and then set him out on the street to do more damage? No. We want them locked up. That we request that. It's worked for so long. If you lock them away, they cannot do things to you. You guys, I can't wait till this election's over. Because, I hate to have to keep wagging my finger at the wonderful people of New York City, but, just the fact that that's your candidate for mayor that is most definitely going to win. And you just heard him say locking away offenders, violent offenders, prisoners. Locking them away isn't the answer, does not make the streets safer. He thinks some kind of social programs, the social worker, therapy. Look at all the people on the street now. They legalized weed, and now everyone feels they could just shoot up. Like weed's legalized, so they go, okay, drugs. And the police don't even do anything. I've seen people shooting up in front of cops right there on 7th Avenue and 35th Street. And you think it's going to be better if there aren't as many cops and if you're not throwing people in jail and you're not enforcing the law and convicting people and keeping them in cells until they could come up with bail, or if they can't, they stay in jail? You think that is a bad thing that needs to be dispensed with to make the city safer? You guys, I'd love to be able to use that word that starts with an F, but I'll say screwed. You guys are screwed. All right, stick around. We got more Anthony Cumia Show in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, it is. And, when I next join you in a week on Sunday, we will know. We will have a mayor-elect of New York. Oof. You guys. Kurt over there in the Isle of Staten. What's up, Kurt?
Hey, Andy. Thanks for taking my call.
Certainly.
Love your show.
Thanks.
But you know what makes me angry with you?
What?
You say so much good stuff that I want to comment on everything. I know.
Yeah. It's like a smorgasbord in here. I know.
Because
thank you, Kurt.
I'm a disabled senior citizen, so I listen to WABC most of the day. I listen to all you guys, man.
Nice.
And I love this. I love them all, But this is what I wanted to talk about. Earlier, you were talking about the limited authority that Zohran Mamdani has.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so does he have the authority to make the buses free?
Yeah, I am very confused as to what he actually has the authority to do. I don't think he has the authority to do like 90% of what he's talking about. Like, I would assume you'd have to go through some kind of at least city council and other people to say, hey, I'm just going to make the buses free. I don't think he could unilaterally do that. So, Kurt, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what he can or can't do.
And then talking about turning them into mobile homeless shelters, that the trains and the buses. Come on, man. What is it with this guy?
That's what they'll be. In the winter, it'll be air conditioned or heated, and in the summer, it'll be air conditioned. So all the homeless are going to want to be on those buses, laying down across 5 seats, and the people that are actually in need of the bus are going to be horrified. And that's the good thing. If they're just horrified, wow, amazing. Because believe me, violence will happen to these commuters when they stop taking fares for the subway and allowing criminals to jump the turnstile with impunity. You notice the violent crime in the subway skyrocketed, and it's going to be the same thing on the buses.
Yeah. What was else? I was just wanted to say about that also. Jeez, I forgot already.
Yeah, it happens.
All right. It's all right. I got it. Listen, I'm a disabled senior citizen, man.
God bless you. God bless you.
I sit home. Like I said, I just sit home and I got me and my dog.
Well, that's good. Well, it's time to talk to your dog now, Kurt, because we're through here. But I appreciate your call, my friend. The dog's like, give me a treat. Give me a treat, for God's sake. No, God bless. Disabled. Good guy. Let's see. Ron. Ron from Stamford, Connecticut. What's up, Ron?
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good. So I totally agree with you that your friend Kamala Harris is totally leave of her senses to offer voting to 16.
Yeah.
That's just absurd. However, I do disagree with you on your point where you said that it should be raised to 21.
Mm-hmm.
If a person, a man or a woman, can sign the line, enlist in the military, and tote a rifle or a weapon or serve our country at 18,
okay,
they should be allowed to vote at 18 as well.
Well, how about you make that kind of a prerequisite? You can vote. 21's the voting age, but if you're in the military, you can vote at 18.
Yeah, but think about the logistics of that. That would be nearly impossible because, say, for example, somebody goes in at 18 and for whatever reason, medical discharge or whatever, they get out at 20. Are you going to then say, oh, no, you can't vote?
I would say you can vote if you've been in the military. Like at any, if it was 18, 19, 20, if you were in the military, are in the military, you can vote. And you know what? You'd need an ID for that, so that would kind of be good too. But I would say that's a nice little way to handle it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 16 is totally off the shelf.
That's
off the shelf.
insane. There isn't one sensible 16-year-old on the face of the planet, never mind in this country. And they look at them, listen to them talk. They're not quite the brightest of bulbs. So
no, and like you said, it's not them individually. It's just that's where they're at. That's their maturity level, and that's where
they're exactly what they're supposed to be. Idiots.
Exactly. But anyways, I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you.
Cool, man. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
All right.
Here goes. Let's talk to. Okay. Here's Steve. Steve, Brooklyn. Yeah. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, how are you doing? The previous caller was right. There's so many things to talk about.
Well, we don't have much time, so you're really going to have to be fast.
Yeah. Okay, affordability in New York. He wants to be a 20,000 housing unit for people who have 70,000 income. That would take care about 0.2% of the population. 99.8% would have no change in their expenses whatsoever. If these houses are built, then he would pay a lot of money for
Steve,
people.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to let you go because we are pretty much done here. Well, how did he fool me with a name like Steve? And then he sounds like that. Well, thank you, though, for the call. And thank you, fine people, for tuning in once again to the Anthony Cumia Show. I will be back next week. If you want to know anything I'm doing, Anthony Cumia on X. Easy peasy. My name is my account. And definitely appreciate the support. And we'll see you back here next week. Good luck with this election, New York.
Thanks for listening to The Anthony Cumia Show. You can hear The Anthony Cumia Show Sunday nights at 8. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.